Hey guys, it is Jimmy with Swiss Realty here. I am going to be doing a quick analysis on one of the first properties that I've ever closed for a client. Just wanted to run you guys through a quick deal analysis just so you can kind of see how I do it at least, and then maybe you can learn a few things as well too. So the deal we are going to be analyzing today, it's going to be, again, one of my first deals that I did as a real estate agent here in Columbus, Ohio. It's 2904 East 12th Avenue. It's out here in Columbus, Ohio. It's a four-bedroom, two-bath, single-family house, and it's 914 square feet. So purchase price. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna take a look at the numbers when we closed on it. So this one obviously closed for 120K. So what we're gonna put here is 120K. Typically, because this is this is a single-family house, and the buyer, I believe they use conventional financing in this case. And again, most buyers do typically use financing. I would say typical range is anywhere from 20 to 25% down is typically how much you're gonna have to put. We'll just put 20% down for this example's sake. When it comes to closing fees, if you're on the buy side, typically just a ballpark, I would say 1.5% is good enough. A lot of my buyers always ask me, do they pay the buyer's agent commission? I will let you know. Again, since like the realtor settlement change that's happened, what was it, like 2 months ago? I've submitted 50 plus offers in that span of time here in Columbus, Ohio. I have not had a single listing agent who was like, you know what, I'm not going to cover any buyer's agent commissions. I will let you know. For the most case, pretty much everything has remained the same exactly. There has been no difference, honestly. So I will let you know. The only thing that has been different is that we just have to explicitly write that seller to pay 3% buyer's agent commission. And if there was ever a situation where the seller or the listing agent was like, you know what, no, we're not paying any commissions at all, then I would let you know, the buyer, and be like, hey, just to let you know, the seller is not paying any commissions. Do you still want to move forward with this deal? If you do, you would then have to pay my commissions. At the end of the day, it is your say on whether you want to continue or not. But if that was to ever happen, I would explicitly let you know ahead of time. And again, this would all be explicitly written out in the contract as well too. So repairs estimate. So I do remember this property pretty well. Repair wise, it was just simple handyman fixes. It was near turnkey. I remember I budgeted around like $10,000 for renovations. Other costs, again, there's really no other costs. The only other cost you ever have to think about when you're buying an investment property is obviously utilities. But again, once it's tenant occupied, you know, all the utilities will be in the tenant's name. So again, something like that you don't really have to pay for. When it comes to landscaping, landscaping is more for 5+ units, is when you would have to kind of take care of it. If it's like a duplex, triplex, or a quadplex, you might be able to make it the tenant's responsibility. But for a single family house, it's always, at least, based on the lease agreement, of course, but majority of the time, it is always the tenant's responsibility to cut their own grass. So again, nothing you need to worry about. And then going to the next item, annual interest rate. So what we're going to do is really quickly, we're just going to go to bankrate.com just to kind of see what the interest rates are. Again, this is just an average, so it's very different lender to lender. Here we're just going to say 6.89, so 6.89. There's no PMI because again, we're not doing less than 25% down in this case. And again, you're not owner occupying it. PMI is only when you do less than 20% down in the situation. Mortgage term. So we're going to do fixed 30-year loan, which again, I would say the bulk majority of people do that. Estimated value appreciation. That's hard to say. I typically will leave that blank because again, I'm not an economist. I will let you know, Columbus, Ohio, anything that you buy here, it's going to blow up in terms of appreciation. So I don't want to put a specific number because again, I'm not an economist and I don't want to, say anything. But I will let you know, appreciation wise, literally you're buying a gold mine here. In the next 2 years, it's gonna double, triple, 5x in value. Appreciation, that's something you will not have to worry about here in Columbus, Ohio. Cost of sell. So also we're not selling the property as well too. So when the buyer bought this one, this was a standard buy and hold rental property. It was not to flip the property. So keep that in mind. So actually we can ignore this part. So let's skip that part. So rents. So when it comes to rents, what I typically recommend doing is using a Renometer report. So What that means is pulling a Renometer report right here. So I have a Renometer Pro account. That means taking a look at the report right here. So this is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, single family house. So I never recommend taking a look at the average right here. And again, also your agent should be able to pull you some of these reports as well too. So what I recommend is always looking within at least a 0.5-mile radius. The thing is, we don't really have any close properties that are very, very close in proximity. So we're a little further out. What I do see is the lowest one is $1,940, but it is significantly bigger in square footage. For example, we have 914 square feet. This one's 1,200 square feet. So I would say this is a good starting point, but this isn't fully accurate, as again, it's significantly bigger in square footage. So what I would recommend is taking the rent number, and then essentially, proportionally based on the square footage, pretty much, I would say reduce that market rent to that rate, if that makes sense. So because again, it's 200, or what is it, 300 square feet bigger in this situation. I would recommend in this situation taking it proportionally by its square footage and reducing that rent amount. So let's say hypothetically, based on the square footage, we're looking at again 1,600. I do believe it is 1,600 if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Okay. And then with that being said, and then property taxes. Give me 1 second. Let me pull up the auditor site. Okay, so pulled up the auditor site here, searched it by the address, and went to the tax and payment section here on the auditor site. So what we want to look for is this number right here that says the current tax. So with this number, then we obviously want to divide that by 12. So let's do 1823. Property taxes, 1823 divided by 12. So we got $151.92 per month. And then aside from that, insurance. So insurance, again, because I've closed so many properties, typically have a good idea on what we're looking at in terms of home insurance, just ballpark wise, based on the purchase price of the property. For a property that's again 120K that they closed on, if I had to guess, they're probably paying $85 a month in home insurance. Again, could be give or take $5-10 a month or whatever, but I would say that's a pretty fair estimate. So when it comes to reserve, so this is a question I get a lot, is like, what should I put in reserve? So what I always recommend my clients to do is to do 8-5-5. So what that means is 8% for the property management percentage, 5% for repairs and maintenance, and then 5% for vacancy. I have had a lot of clients put some crazy conservative numbers just because they're like, hey, I want to be overly conservative. But the thing is, you do not want to be overly conservative, because even if you found a home run deal, it would still be a horrendous deal and it would be negative cash flowing just because you're overly conservative. It's smart to be a little conservative. Don't get me wrong. You should be a little conservative, but you cannot be overly conservative. If you're overly conservative, there will be no deals that you will ever buy, and you will always be sitting on the sideline. So be a little conservative, but not too crazy conservative. I do recommend 8-5-5. Again, 8% for the PMV, 5% for vacancy, and 5% for repairs and maintenance. In my opinion, that definitely works. That definitely works a lot of the time. So give me 1 second. Let me just review this real quick. So now going back down. So here now we have the results. So what we see so far is cap rate looking at 10%. We're looking at a 1.33% for the rent to price ratio, which again, that's amazing. You're over the 1% rule. Looking at $35,000 to close on this property, which again, quite a good deal, as you know. Aside from that, so we're looking at the monthly cash flow now. So with this property, how it stands is, if we were to rent it at $1,600 a month, and we account for PITI, and we account for all the reserves that we obviously accounted for, we are netting $449.87 a month, which is incredible. Honestly, that is incredible. And then in a year, we're making $5,398.43 a year, just from net cash flow. That's after expenses. That's after reserves. That is a home run deal if I've ever seen one. And again, this is a great deal. I'm just gonna quickly go through it just so you can kind of see what we're working with here. Yeah, this is a home run deal. And with deals like this, you have to remember that rents increase year to year, so your returns are going to get better year to year as well too. Let me see. Yeah, this is a home run deal, honestly. $449 net cash flow a month, making over 5 grand net cash flow a year. Deals like this 100% are possible to find, and especially those deals that are light turnovers, near turnkey, great buy and hold properties. With this property, again, returns are going to get better. It's going to appreciate. It's in a great area. It's a 4-2, which again is one of the most desirable layouts when it comes to buying rental properties here in Columbus, Ohio. This is a solid deal, absolutely. So, yeah. So let me know if you have any other questions. I'm happy to share this spreadsheet with you, or just so you can kind of take a look at it as well too. But yeah, let me know if you have any other questions. I'm always happy to answer them. With that being said, my name is Jimmy Liu with Swiss Realty. You can, if you are interested in working with me, I do work here in the Columbus, Ohio area. I do specifically work in the investment space. I help investors buy and holds, burrs, flips, or even short term and midterm rentals. So again, if that's something you're looking for, definitely feel free to reach out. Always more than happy to help. My contact information will be below in the YouTube video. Let me know if you have any other questions in the meantime. Thank you so much for taking time to watch this video. And again, let me know if you have any other questions. Happy to help.